Assalamu alaikum everyone, thank you for being here. I'd like to start with a small but big word, courage. What does it really mean? I'm not so sure myself, but I do know that it's not always loud, it's not always dramatic. Often it's very, very quiet. Sometimes it's choosing to show up in hard situations, in uncertain circumstances, in difficult situations. And sometimes it's also being in spaces where you feel that you don't belong. It can be the courage to step forward, to take responsibility, the courage to protect something larger than yourself, even when the work is hard, unseen, and often misunderstood. And that's the courage that we ask of rangers. Rangers are often called the unsung heroes of conservation, standing on the front lines to protect biodiversity, ecosystems, and communities, but largely out of the spotlight. And for a very, very long time, women rangers have been unseen and hidden within that story itself. So friends, partners, environmentalists, reading enthusiasts, and fellow feminists, I am Rabia Tahir, Director for Communications at WWF Pakistan, and today I'm helping my colleagues bring forward some hidden, unseen, quiet stories of loud courage. So despite the essential role that rangers play, women remain significantly underrepresented in this profession, especially in the frontline roles. Globally, these women make up only a small fraction of ranger forces, and in Pakistan, structural barriers in forestry, wildlife, and fisheries departments continue to limit their access, safety, and visibility in the field. And yet, Hidden Figures, the book that we're bringing to you today, shows how women bring critical strengths to conservation, from community engagement to research and education to building trust where it matters most. So this is not just a book about conservation, it's about the future of conservation itself. It's about equity, it's about representation. This book has been shaped by the dedication of its authors and contributors and put together with the support of the Illegal Wildlife Trade Challenge Fund, the International Ranger Federation, and the Ranger Federation of Asia. It also reflects the commitment of WWF Pakistan in strengthening conservation and representation in the ranger workforce. And we're also very, very grateful to the British Council and the WOW Festival for providing a platform to launch this book and bring these stories to a wider audience. And with that shared commitment in mind, I'd like to invite Rab Nawaz, Senior Director, Programs at WWF Pakistan, to formally open today's session.
बहुत शुक्रिया बिस्मिल्लाह thank you Rabia. I won't take too long because we're already delayed. I actually don't know मुझे क्यों बुलाना है. Honestly, this is an event for women. I think it should be, well, it was opened by women, but I think it does actually should belong to the day belongs to the women. मेरे ताल्लुक UK मैं 94 से आया और I've been privileged कि पिछले 25 साल I've walked throughout Pakistan. जब मैं आया 94 में ये सवाल का पैदा नहीं है कि ख़वातीन वाइल्ड लाइफ या फॉरेस्ट की वर्क फोर्स था. Maybe one or two people, एक दो ख़वातीन, but at low level, the junior level है, and things have changed. लेकिन despite पंजाब में, सिंध में, AJK, some of the best wildlife rangers and forest rangers in Pakistan are women. And if anybody remembers Famida Firdos, who's the turtle lady, yes, bada mashhur khatun hai Karachi mein. She's retired now, but she was a stalwart of conservation. Despite that, only 2.6% of the task force are women across Pakistan, be it forest department or wildlife department. But it is changing. Even if you see within WWF, हमारा जो global head है, she's a woman. Last week we were in the boards, in our WWF board meeting in Garo, and the men were actually outnumbered, which was a very good thing to see. And I remember जो हमारा first workshop था, we engaged wildlife rangers or the forest rangers, the women around Pakistan. I was invited to do an inaugural speech. So I turned up, Islamabad ki meeting hai, and I walked into the room and sab khatun hai, ek mard nahi hai. It was all women, and I thought, okay, now I understand what it means for women to walk into a room with men. You feel very, not under threat, like it's a bit of a shock, how to deal with this. Where do I put my position? So it was a big eye-opener for me, and after that, we've engaged a lot of women. We sent them to World Ranger Congress. So I think this is a real big milestone for Pakistan, for developed Pakistan, and for all the women out there who are on the front line, who are inspiration to me and to WWF. So I think moving forward, this book's a very good milestone in our journey, and I hope moving forward. I think what we need to do now as WWF, as a society, is to actually make better space for women, for girls to not only get into this field but to work. They should not be desk-based opportunities. They should be out in their field. I'll just give you an example. And there's a lady called Rizwana in Punjab Wildlife Department. I mean, she is a force. She is such an inspiration. She's out there capturing illegal wildlife. It does show it can be done, but we need to have that space. We need to have the facilities so they can do this successfully. So thanks again. Thanks for WOW for inviting us. Inshallah, we'll become a regular event, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Rab Nawaz. I love that story about walking into a room full of women. I hope you've since recovered from that. So before we turn to the stories themselves, it's important to pause and understand the broader picture. And in order to understand the context behind this book, I'd like you to hear a few words from Carleen Root, who's the Executive Officer at the International Ranger Federation. She couldn't join us today, unfortunately, but she was kind enough to send us this message.
My name is Carleen Root, and I'm the Executive Officer for the International Ranger Federation. I am also the Director for Project Rhino Alliance, a conservation NGO based in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. And we support over 600 rangers across our province. I am a proud woman ranger. And across the world, rangers are the first line of defense of nature. And women belong on this front line. As a female ranger working closely with rangers every single day, I've seen how women bring strength and empathy, resilience, and a deep community connection to conservation. Yet, too many women rangers remain unseen, unsupported, and unheard. The book on Hidden Figures, Women Rangers and Their Stories of Saving Biodiversity in Pakistan matters, because representation matters, stories matter, and visibility matters. By celebrating women rangers, we don't just honor their courage, we inspire the next generation to believe this place, this uniform, this mission belongs to you. When women are empowered as rangers, nature and communities are stronger. A huge congratulations to the hidden figures in this book, the women rangers whose courage and commitment are saving the biodiversity of Pakistan. And to the team who brought these stories together so powerfully and so beautifully. Visibility turns courage into possibility, and possibility into change. Well done to the women rangers who are the change.
Some very powerful words from Carleen. So, and to ground us in the current situation, both human and technical, I'd like to invite Humaira Aisha, Asia representative of the International Ranger Federation, to share an overview of where we stand, what are the challenges, and what the evidence is telling us. So over to you, Humaira.
Thank you, Rabia. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It is a pleasure to come back to the WOW for the fourth time now. Feel very inclusive and also makes you feel very proud of the fact that there are many, many women who are working out there, and there is so much that is happening to support, to make this world a more inclusive space for women. I'm Humaira Aisha, as Rabia said, and I have always been a biologist as long as I remember it to be. What it means is that I have worked for the conservation of the wildlife in Pakistan everywhere. When I started my career about 17, 18 years back, when I was also a very young professional, like many of you sitting at the back, I didn't know if I was going to be able to have a career and be a person who will be able to conserve nature. It was not because that I didn't had a passion, it was not because I didn't have the skills. I didn't really see it a profession for women who can work for nature conservation. And the reason was very simple. There were not many women that I could look up to as a role model to see that, oh, this is something that I could also opt to become a professional. But it all happened organically. But what this journey has led us to realize over the past many, many years, that nature conservation is a big, big, big thing. We all are responsible for it. But the sector that has been tasked specifically to do that, it's the sector which is actually has the least number of women working for it. So what we are going to try to do is, I'll try to speak a bit about what this profession is about and why do we need more women and what does it mean for Pakistan to have more women rangers. So if we could put up the presentation, if it's okay. Thank you. And I'm going to get a clicker. Perfect. So something is happening. So those of us, I love to show this graph to everybody. I have shown it so many times. One thing that we all need to know, nature is essential for our survival. We all know it. Nature gives us food, nature gives us everything which is essential, from the clothes we wear, to the food we eat, to the water we drink. And unfortunately, nature is in trouble. We know that 70% of the global wildlife population have decreased everywhere, which means that maybe in a couple of years' time, when you and I will be speaking here, we may not have quite a few of those crucial and important wildlife species that are important. So that's the narrative, and we all live in Karachi, we live in Pakistan, we have seen how nature is changing, our connection to nature is changing, we have seen climate change, we have seen the impacts of losing our forest, habitat, iconic species, to how it is impacting all of us. And if this is not for the nature, probably COVID was a very good example for us to understand that how important it is to protect nature and talk about it. So if nature is the central to our survival and everything, how about the people who protect nature? Not just in Pakistan, but elsewhere also. We call these people rangers, and they are not the rangers that you would generally imagine when the word rangers is often spoke of. Rangers is a global term that is used for any person, it can be a man, it can be a woman, who are by designation, who are by the mandate of the work, they are responsible to protect the nature on the ground. They are the people that you would not see wearing fancy clothes, coming to the big meetings. They are the people who stay back into the forest, the ones who patrol along the Indus River, for example, the ones who go to the wetlands. Those are the people who are, maybe they don't even have boots, but they are going to protect snow leopards. Those are the ones who are going to protect our bulan. Those are the ones who are standing in front of the people who are coming and killing the trees, the forests that are essential for our lives. And Pakistan has these forest, wildlife and fisheries rangers who are working across Pakistan in many, many protected areas. Now the tourism is expanding. We know that how important those sites are and how crucial those elements are. And these people are unfortunately not so many of them. So all over the world, including Pakistan and all the continents, the individuals who are responsible to protect the most precious asset we have, which is the nature, they are less than 500,000. And that is nothing when it comes to prepare and protect your world from the bigger challenges, climate change, habitat loss, illegal wildlife trade is happening. So these people are just a handful. And unfortunately, Pakistan is not too different. We have less than 20,000 people who are working on the ground to protect wildlife, forests and fisheries on ground. Now, where does women come in? Because all the pictures that I'm showing you do not have a lot of women, and we just spoke about women rangers. So what happens here? Sorry, I'm struggling to learn to deal with this clicker a bit, but I will get there, I hope. So these people, as I said, they work with limited resources. More than 50% of the people, when you see them working on the ground, they are not very equipped. They have very limited access to resources, the support they need. But when it comes to women rangers, unfortunately, there are not many women working anywhere in the world for the ranger sector. So the global work that has happened around the rangers who are protecting nature, there are about 3 to 11% women who are in this sector. So is Pakistan any different? Sadly, no. Our numbers are much, much, much more lesser than what you would imagine the sector to have. So this is how the women ranger look like in other parts of the world. There is this amazing ranger from India. She's also called the Crocodile Queen of India. She single-handedly have rescued so many wildlife species. She works on the human-wildlife conflict. She works on tiger conservation, and many other colleagues who are working in other parts of the world. These amazing women and of course men, they go into the field, they walk into the forest that many of us would not even imagine to go to barefoot, face those people who are very dangerous, who are against the nature, and they're protecting them day and night. And I wanted to bring in the very first woman that I know in from Pakistan was the first female ranger. That is a lady, her name is Dr. Fahmida Firdaus. And if you are from Karachi, you must have heard of the Turtle Beach, right, which is at the sand spit. So the Turtle Beach is a place where the green sea turtle, which is a species of global conservation importance, comes and they make their nests and lay eggs. So Dr. Fahmida Firdaus was the first woman ever hired in the department very, very long time ago, even when many of us were not even born. And she took up the charge to patrol, which means that they would protect the beach, make sure that turtles are protected. So she was the first known women ranger for Pakistan for nature conservation. And after her comes Farida Asrar Sahiba, who was also another woman ranger, which was hired as part of the Sindh Wildlife Department. And she was also roaming in the same areas and making sure that turtles' babies are not hatched, not snatched, not being sold into the Karachi's market or anybody else. So this is how long the history goes back to. But none of us knew them, right? We know a lot of women who have changed the history, but why couldn't we talk about these women? I wouldn't know this if I wasn't working for this sector. And that is a challenge. And the reason in Pakistan, now you look at all these incredible women. Many of them were the first women who have come to their departments in different places in Pakistan. The woman up there is Hasina. She was the first woman ranger as part of the KP Wildlife Department. The woman at the bottom is Rizwana that Rabnawaz spoke of. She was the first woman. She is the first woman ranger for Punjab Wildlife Department. Habiba is the first woman ranger for the Islamabad Wildlife Management Board. So the word first is quite common in here in Pakistan, because it's not very recent that we have started to see a lot of women come to work for the wildlife, forest and fisheries sector in Pakistan, which is why when we spoke for a lot of lack of representation, these women unfortunately are not even 3% of what the total workforce look like. And which is why you don't see them very often. You don't talk about a lot of often, because it's a number we are talking about out of 20,000 plus people, less than 500 women who are working part of this sector. Their role is very important. If we don't have women, conservation can never be successful, unfortunately. But yet this issue stays a limited talked about issue. So we started this very interesting work 3 years back when we started to look for, okay, why there are not many women? Let's start to ask them. And then this graph, basically you can't see fully here. So we started to ask women, is there a difference in motivation? Is there a problem with them not having enough capacity? But it looks like women have much more capacity, much more motivation to become part of the sector, but still it continues to be not what you would call an equal opportunity field. Like in the other law enforcement sectors in Pakistan and elsewhere in the world, we talk about, for example, the ranger workforce. Otherwise, we talk about the border security agencies. There is a good representation, which is sometimes can go up to 30%, but not in this sector. So we then learn about what the barriers look like. So there are two categories of barrier, and hear me out. I'm not going to tell you anything which is different. You're going to hear me and you're like, well, probably you're telling me what we all know of. This happens to all one of us. So one category of barrier is what we call is women-specific barriers, right? And then what category is basically the barriers that are common to men and women, but they affect women differently. So now imagine, have you ever heard of saying, you are a girl, probably you shouldn't be doing it. This job is not meant for a girl. Probably it's safe to stay indoors. That is where you belong to. Being ranger is a manly job. So you have this macho image of a person with a gun, probably with a stick. You won't never imagine a woman to do it. So that's what our society has, our cultures have, our systems across the world have shapen up the gender identities. You would never imagine a woman carrying heavy equipment in the field, driving the heavy vehicles. So that's what shapes up to what roles women would play when they come to spaces like those. The other problem is a common issue. If we all go out work in a very remote area in the field, which I'm sure many of us who are sitting in this space we do, if both men and women do not have access to bathrooms, that is a problem for both. But for women, it may be a bigger problem. When they go out, work in the patrol, they patrol, they work in the scary spaces out there where there is a danger, there is a problem for men because they also left a family behind. But for women, it's even a bigger problem because they also have to go back, take care of the family. So there is a gender dimension of the issues. And unfortunately, while they are true to their nature being universal, for the ranger workforce, such challenges have continued to stay as the prime reasons to why we do not have more women working to these sectors. And it was quite a revealing experience for you to do when you look at the global issue, global nature of challenges, and then they are trickling down to the similar way. You do not expect, for example, women in our spaces to come out. I have been told quite a lot of time in my career, maybe the good idea is that you stay back, research. Sometimes when you work with people in the field, maybe we'll just do the hard job so that we do it for you. So it's not about making it an easy space, it's about making it an equal opportunity space with all what you need to do to become a better person as a ranger and support the conservation field. And interestingly, in Pakistan, there are not many women who have been here for a very long time. So maybe in next 20, 30 years, are we going to see more women becoming the heads of their departments? Unlikely, because the induction of the women in senior roles in the institutions is very recent because of the change which is happening very, very slow. But it's so slow that the gradual change even looks like it's going to be a lot of time. And then the gender gaps that I talk about, it's you speak to these people, and the good part is that men also understand and acknowledge those challenges. I mean, it's really hard sometimes to make it understandable for everybody that women can do exactly what you are doing, and if they have spaces, they have support, they should do it, but we would still like to make it a more dominating field. So this work that we've been doing has led us to come up with some very structured responses and ideas to what we should do. And then we started to also connect and understand how these challenges are quite global and regional in challenges in nature, and why the solutions have to be common. And this brought us to this very book that all of us are here together to learn about and going to have a launch event about. This is basically a very organic compilation of the stories. When we were working with these women, we tried to figure out who's doing what is your story, and it seems like every story was a unique story. Every story, every woman ranger we speak to persisted, has a different way of resilience, have a different contribution to conservation, and not every woman would be the one you will see carrying a gun. I mean, most of them, they don't even use guns, but for them it's very important to be part of the conservation, because without them it's impossible sometimes to address some of the pressing issues of conservation in Pakistan, including human-wildlife conflict, including working in the spaces where there are many women who are relying on the natural resources, and that makes it a very important thing. So do give it a read. It's available online, of course. We're going to do a launch, but that's a very different kind of a story that you will learn, because the whole idea is that we inspire all of you to see that why the ranger workforce needs more women, and what is it that we can do to become part of it. And I give you one example. For example, we were working on looking at how when wildlife is illegally harvested, poached or captured, why it's important to have women. Because sometimes in the spaces where women have a very closer connection to nature, women are also the key driver of where illegal wildlife trade happens. And if we don't have women rangers working on those spaces, it becomes impossible for male rangers sometimes to go and work effectively with those communities. So I'm going to just leave here with the note that there is a lot that we can do to voice for women rangers, to talk about equality, equity, and bringing more rangers, especially who identified as women. But the most important thing is that we need to understand that it's not about always numbers. It's not about quotas, or we have kept a quota in the department, so we're going to get a certain number of women. It's about making it a space which is able to let women contribute effectively. So I'm talking about the equity here. So if I were to work with somebody who is 6 feet taller and I'm just 5'3", and there is a wall which is 6 feet tall, so maybe the 6 feet man would have a better opportunity to climb that wall up than me. So this is what we are looking at, a profession which is so important, but a barrier which is surrounded by gender norms, cultural, religious taboos, and also a lot of what it takes to make it and welcoming space to women, so that many of the young lot which is sitting here, I would like to see you becoming ranger, normalizing it as a profession which is as accepted as the doctors, as the engineers, and many other professions would be. So I'll stop here. So thank you very much for listening, but I hope this helps to understand to why ranger and why women rangers are very important for us.
Thank you so much, Hamera. And while you were talking, I was just thinking I'm so lucky because of my association with WWF Pakistan. I've had the opportunity to meet so many of these women, so many of these firsts, so many of these trailblazers. But I want to pause here for a moment to reflect on a quote from the book that captures the spirit that's driving these women. It's the sense of fulfillment that drives me forward, knowing that my work is making a tangible difference in the preservation of our natural heritage. It is fulfilling, and I love my work and the wonders of nature it explores. These words from Shaista Ali, a monitoring officer with the Wildlife and Fisheries Department from Azad Jammu and Kashmir, remind us that love for nature and courage are at the heart of what they're doing. And sometimes the most powerful way to understand courage is not through statistics or speeches, but by listening to the words of those that live through it quietly every single day. I'd like to now share messages from two such trailblazers, Sidra and Aruj.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Aruj Zahir, Assistant Chief Wildlife Ranger in Punjab Wildlife and Parks Department. I am one of the few female rangers in Punjab and a wildlife conservationist and nature lover by heart. People are often curious that how we female rangers are capable of performing such a hard job. If I talk about my department, the female rangers are performing exceptionally well. Even in some cases, they are performing better than their male counterparts. So how do they do it? First of all, they are very courageous, honest, prudent, and steadfast in their field. These are the qualities often attributed to the masculinity. But our female rangers have embraced these masculine features along with their own unique feminist features, like they are very dedicated, they are very calm in the field, and most importantly, they penetrate very deep into the society. Female rangers have enabled the Punjab Wildlife Department to move the conservation efforts from barracks to the kitchens, and kitchens are the places where the real change in society begins. The females should be recruited in the Wildlife Department because it's not only important for their own empowerment, but they are very helpful in the cases where the offenders are female or females are used as a cover for the offenses.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sidratul Muntaha. I am working as Assistant Chief Wildlife Ranger in District Dera Ghazi Khan. District Dera Ghazi Khan में different type के habitats हैं. दरियाओं में river Indus है, hills में कोहे सुलेमान range है, और vast plain areas हैं, जिसकी वजह से यहाँ पे wildlife की भी diversity बहुत ज़्यादा है. और इसमें major contribution जो है migratory birds का है, जो wintering के लिए पाकिस्तान visit करते हैं. Being female wildlife ranger, मैं जब फील्ड में मॉनिटरिंग के लिए जाती हूँ या पेट्रोलिंग के लिए जाती हूँ, तो मैं कम्युनिटी से इंगेज करती हूँ ख़ुद को, कम्युनिटी को एजुकेट करती हूँ अवेयरनेस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. मैं ये समझती हूँ बीइंग फीमेल वाइल्ड लाइफ रेंजर, मैं जब कम्युनिटी में फ़ीमेल्स और बच्चों के साथ इंटरेक्ट करती हूँ, उनको एजुकेट करती हूँ वाइल्ड लाइफ के हवाले से, कंजर्वेशन और इसकी इम्पोर्टेंस के हवाले से, तो ये हमारे लिए ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्टिव है. जो एक गैप है वाइल्ड लाइफ डिपार्टमेंट और कम्युनिटी के दरमियान में, उसको कवर करने के लिए हम एज ए ब्रिज रोल प्ले करती हैं.
As you probably heard, these rangers are not just part of conservation, they're shaping the future of conservation and how it's practiced on the ground. And to explore what this means for policy and the future of conservation, we now turn to our panel discussion. I'm very delighted to be joined by Dr. Fauzia Parveen, an environmental scientist, educationist, and board member at WWF Pakistan. Rab Nawaz, Senior Director, Programs at WWF Pakistan. And Hamera Aisha, Asia Representative of the International Ranger Federation. Just checking if this is working. Yes, it is. Thank you very much for joining me. Each of you bring a very unique perspective to this conversation, from leadership to on-the-ground conservation, to education and training and storytelling. So I think I'll start with you, Rab Nawaz. You are someone whose conservation journey spans decades, landscapes and regions. You've been in the conservation field since 1993, officially joining WWF Pakistan in 1999. Okay, I got that right. And you work from the Himalayas to the river landscapes. Your work has covered both the breadth and depth of what conservation in the country looks like, from working in the field to shaping programs and policy, to heading the Sindh region, and then to leading WWF Pakistan's biodiversity work. And somewhere along that story, there's also a long-standing love story with the Western Tragopan, but we'll save that one for another day. So Rab Nawaz, having worked in conservation for nearly 3 decades now, you've witnessed change in many ways. And from your perspective, how has the role of female rangers evolved in the country, both on ground and within institutions? And how do you see these women rangers shaping the future of conservation?
Okay, thank you, Rabia. So I think I'll start with just stating one thing. I think we need to be very careful. I say we as if we don't romanticize conservation. It's very easy to do. A lot of people in the audience will think that we walk up mountains and we see snow leopards and we have a good time and barbecues, sabiyashia. I spent nearly 10 years in the Himalayas. Humaira spent months living on a 15-foot boat counting dolphins. We both came under fire, and I mean that literally. So conservation is a very hard life, and we should not romanticize it. And I think it's very important to get a message. But saying that is very rewarding. And I said as my opening speech, when I came here in '94, there were no women in conservation. I mean, the KP Wildlife Department had one token Khatune. She was probably the relative of the DFO conservator. She was there to take him out. That's changed a lot, and I'm not worried. I think in 10 years down the line, we're going to see much more women in conservation, because of the skill sets, because of the need is growing, be it in forestry, be it in environment, and I mean on the line conservation. So I think it's a positive change, but I think as managers and as senior management, we need to make that space. In Pakistan, obviously, a woman coming into this field, because it's not a field in the office, it's out in the oceans, it's in the mountains, it has its challenges. And I think that's where we have to make conscious efforts to make that space, to make that safety, because it's not always a safe place, not only for women, but for men, that women can come and they can grow. I think that's the important thing, and I've seen that change now. The women are coming into the sector and they're growing. So the AIG assistant IG Inspector General Forests is a woman from KP, very strong lady. Maybe she's the next IGF. So I think things are changing. I'm not too worried that it's not going to stop. I think that trajectory is going to go up, and I look forward. As I said, WWF has its DG is a woman. If you look right around Asia Pacific, the conservation directors, the CEOs are women. In departments, just to give one example, maybe not a popular one, Mariam Aurangzeb, who's the head of the wildlife department in Punjab. She started her life in WWF. So I think that progression is us to give that safe space and to give the guidance and the mentorship to get them there.
Thank you, Rabjavaz. Glad to hear things are changing, and I like your optimism. I share it too. Amira, you've worked very closely on ground with rangers. You're a conservation practitioner who has worked extensively across endangered species conservation. We just found out you've spent 10 years on a boat. Human-wildlife coexistence and protected areas management. And your work brings together conservation and development, linking biodiversity protection with livelihoods, equity, technology and ranger empowerment as well. So having worked so closely with rangers, you've seen both the progress and the very persistent gaps that continue to exist. So from your experience, what are the most critical challenges that currently exist, and what are the most promising pathways to change?
Thank you, Rabia. I want to take you back maybe 10 years ago when this whole discussion started around rangers for us in Pakistan. And remember that all of us, from Rab Nawaz to myself and all the colleagues who work in conservation space, rangers have always been part of our lives because there is nothing we do goes without engaging them or being part of them. So I distinctly remember it was back in 2017 when we started the very first project in Pakistan focused on the illegal trade in wildlife. And what happens is we conduct this very extensive training, we come back, and the next day we receive this news about 2 colleagues from Punjab Wildlife Department, and they were shot dead. And I remember those people, part of the training, one of them was actually part of the surveys that WWF conducts, and he was quite mature, quite senior in his team, and they didn't have any even equipment to protect themselves. So that was a moment for all of us to sort of just stop and take a pause and see, have we missed out something here? Because it felt like we lost a family member, and all of us in WWF were grieving for a very long time because of it. And that is when our work took a shift to where we started to look at the human dimensions. Because the narrative everywhere in the world is, oh, rangers protect nature, so it's their duty to do it. And if it's not happening, it's because they are not doing their job well. It turned into, oh, what support do they need to be better in what they do, and has anybody looked at what the challenges they are facing? So that took us to become part of the very first global assessment that was conducted around the ranger. The first one to confirm in Pakistan, 70% of the rangers we spoke to never had the proper equipment, the training, the resource they needed to perform their duties. And I'm not talking about advanced equipment, even wearing the proper boot in the grounds, which is important for them to cover the patrol areas, having even a GPS to record the information, having access to mobile phone, and even pani ki bottle that is essential for you to drink water when you are in the field. And that's when the women ranger things come up. We live in a country which there is so much reliance on the nature. Nature is part of our lives. We have our sisters sitting here from the field who are fishers, for example, and there are many, many such examples across Pakistan. And if there are not women, how are we going to be able to address the issues that are associated to nature? So that's when this entire journey started, and building upon one another and after another, we become part of this global movement to where in Pakistan now, we speak for women rangers, we speak for diversity and inclusion, and most importantly, we speak for how this profession needs a better support and recognition, so that those who are responsible to protect nature for real, they have what it takes to protect nature and become a very important entity for the conservation field.
Thanks a lot, Amira. Dr. Fawzia, my next question is for you. Your work bridges science, education, and indigenous knowledge with a strong focus on sustainability education, from early childhood through to higher education. You have a DPhil from the University of Oxford, and through both your research and your teaching, you have been deeply engaged in shaping how environmental awareness, behavior change, and sustainability are integrated into learning systems. So I'm sure you would agree that education plays a very large part in shaping values and sort of nurturing environmental stewardship. So how do we integrate books like these, stories like these, and the lived experiences of women rangers and the communities they represent into education and public engagement? And how can we use those to inspire the next generation to care for nature?
Thank you very much for making me a part of this brilliant conversation. As an educator, I have experimented a lot and at several levels. And the inspiration for that came from the fact that everything I taught at a university was new for the undergraduate students. And we know that very elite and privileged come to the university. And so that had inspired us to go back, work with teachers, work with communities, work with early years, as you said, up to K to 12. And because you talked about how do we communicate it and how do we bring it. So when I came, like all of us, I thought I would just add everything into the curriculum. And that bringing any change, particularly at the state level, is very, very challenging. So curriculum, I think by the time curriculum that we develop on, let's say, if we want to include it in the curriculum, by the time it is approved, you'll probably have the entire dynamic shift from very young women now joining. So the entire dynamic would shift. So you do not know where and when and how to start. So what we then started doing is creating these informal resources. We do not wait for the state, the government to do something about it. We said, let me create what I can and just give it to people, disseminate it to people and see what works. And what I've learned is you have to keep changing the message based on the audience. So if you're doing something for the early years, I know we have some drama following up this conversation, and it is interesting because that is exactly the medium through which I would want for the story of Rangers to be communicated with the early years, through storytelling. And then, of course, for higher education, it should be how can we make sure that these university students visit these national parks, meet with these women, because the women we cannot bring to the university, we cannot bring them to the university lectures because they're always busy doing something on the ground. So how do we give access for our students to go and see these stories? And if we can't do that, how do we bring these stories or these videos to our classrooms? And I know Rab was saying that we don't make conservation sexy. My new motto is कि science को भी, conservation को भी बनाइए sexy. Like celebrate these women like you celebrate the influencers, the models, the actors. If you give them the stature that they deserve, which is these big celebrities, if you constantly tell their stories like they are celebrities, maybe people will be inspired. Because right now, their story maybe does not inspire many young girls because they will say, oh, ये तो बहुत मुश्किल है, अच्छा वो कह रही हैं कि गोली लग गई, oh, यहाँ तो बहुत लड़ाइयाँ हो रही हैं, अच्छा community के सारे मर्द हमारे ख़िलाफ़ हो गए. फिर there are stories behind stories. So for example, इनके घरों की कहानियाँ होंगी, इनके fathers की, इनके भाइयों की कहानियाँ होंगी support करने की. और एक कलेक्टिव कहानी होगी पूरे कम्युनिटी की जिसने उस एक खातून को कैपी में एम्पावर किया होगा कि वो फॉरेस्ट को जाके स्टूवर्ड करे. ये कहानियाँ बताना बहुत ज़रूरी है. तो जब तक ये कहानियाँ सामने नहीं आएंगी तब तक मुझे लगता है कि हम स्ट्रगल करेंगे और हर वे शेप फॉर्म मीडियम को इस्तेमाल करें और इस कहानी को पहुँचाएँ लोगों तक. वुड बी माई रिक्वेस्ट.
Absolutely agree, Dr. Fawzia. And I think what you're saying and what you've done already also takes a lot of courage. So we've spoken a little bit about the evolution of how we got here. We've spoken a little bit about the current challenges and the power of storytelling in this equation. So now I'm going to move to what next? What's the bigger picture here? So Rab Nawaz is a male leader in conservation. What role do you think men can play or should play in creating safe, equitable, and enabling environments for women rangers to thrive?
I think that's a very good question. I think it should be across the board. I think for conservation, they're quite a difficult field. I think, again, I said earlier, making that space and the facilities. And I think Fawzia said, encourage. Because I think it is very challenging for women to come into this field, the logistics and the actually getting into the field. So I think the encouragement, we've tried to make a conscious effort to have women in conservation awards. I think it needs to be picked up, and I think Fawzia has actually hit the nail on the head, is making them into celebrities, which they are, and really giving inspiration to the younger girls to get into the field, to get into do the education, get into that, so they see. And then I think the second thing is both in the private and public sector is to not only encourage but then to promote, be it up into the career scale, up to the top really. I think there's two things we need to consciously and actually plan that by 2028, Fawzia is going to be the president, Humaira is going to be the DG. A bit construed, I know, but we need to make that conscious effort to actually make that happen and see a pathway of how that is going to happen.
Thanks, Rob Nawaz, absolutely. And I think this book is also a step towards in that direction. Humaira, from a leadership perspective, how do we translate or use these stories to create some systemic change, whether it is budgets, whether it is training, or just changing workplace culture?
Thank you. And before I answer that, I see Javed Mahar has walked into the room, so if I can request Javed Mahar to also please join us on the stage. So he's the conservator for the Sindh Wildlife Department, and thank you, sir, for still managing to come to work when you work on the front line to join us here. So thank you. I'll respond to it in two ways, Rabia. One is exactly what Dr. Fawzia said, that we need to tell the stories. People need to know that there is a profession which is an equal opportunity field for men and women. And having women is critical for conservation, in fact, the science field, and there are not many women who are working in the science anyway. But for the wildlife, forest and fisheries conservation, I think it's instrumental to have women, because much of what we do goes back to where we connect with. There is no conservation if there are no women. And I would quote Dr. Johnny Sager here, who has authored the very first Women Ranger Assessment globally, and she said there are many benefits of bringing women to conservation, and not doing that, the dangers are going to be a lot. Women are important for bringing that balance into the conservation. Women are important to address those pressing issues, including challenges like which are very true to our spaces, human-wildlife conflict, engaging with the women. And I also agree with what Dr. Fawzia was saying, is about celebrating the stories and the allyship. I remember working with one colleague in Punjab Wildlife Department, so her father would go to her to conduct the raids at the evening, because they were just not sure how is it going to be possible for women to be part of the raid parties. I have also known to the women where the husband has stayed back in the home, take care of the baby so that she's going to be able to perform the duties. But like you said, there is a long way to go. And Dr. Fahmida Firdaus was the first one to set up an example to, even back then, to see that what is the value, and especially in a region like Sindh, there is so much that we link to, with nature, with the women, being part of our identities and our culture. So in order for us to bring a systematic change, I think it's not even locally but also globally true, we need to look at those barriers which are quite systematic, quite established, and look at how our policies and enabling mechanisms are going to be helpful. We're talking about bringing women to workforce without offering any daycare support, for example, just to start with, for example. We're talking about bringing to the workforce where women do not even have equipment that are made to fit to their unique body standards. So starting from here is to take forward that conversation to make it a more normalized field. We need more young women to be inspired to become part of this profession. And the change is happening slowly, but maybe the focus should not be on the numbers. It's about bringing that enabling space which is going to offer what it becomes to be an active and effective and supported region.
Thank you, Humaira, for reminding us that it's not about the numbers, it's actually about the stories. And with that, thank you so much, Javed Saab, for joining us. You're a celebrity in your own right. As wildlife conservator with the government of Sindh, you're responsible for the protection, conservation and management of wildlife in the province. During your career, spanning close to 3 decades now, you've been involved in combating illegal wildlife trade, taking remarkable steps to limit the smuggling of freshwater turtles and banning traders from capturing and selling wildlife birds. You've also been involved in the safe rescue and release of the Queen of the Indus, the Bhullan, and you've been involved in the plantation of countless trees and the greening of thousands of acres of land. So Javed Saab, there's been a lot of conversation right now about women rangers, and particularly the lack of representation of women in this department. So what steps are being taken by the government right now to improve the participation of women in this field?
Thank you very much. एंड आई एम सॉरी रोड ब्लॉकेट की वजह से मैं थोड़ा देर से ज्वाइन कर पाया हूँ। वाइल पिछले चंद सालों से मैंने नोट किया, जो कि बहुत पहले अरसे से बात करनी चाहिए थी, बट मेरा ने हमारी कलीग ने वुमेन रेंजर्स की बात करना शुरू की। ये क्रेडिट तो सबसे पहले मैं इनको देना चाहूँगा, बिकॉज forums पे, writings में I have noted she has been very vocal on this issue since last couple of years. अब इस सेक्टर में फॉरेस्ट रेंजर या वाइल्ड लाइफ रेंजर, पाकिस्तान फॉरेस्ट इंस्टीट्यूट पेशावर जो कि इस सेक्टर का एक नॉलेज या डिग्री देने का पाकिस्तान में जो इदारा है, ये हम जाएंगे बैक इन 90s जब डॉक्टर मैमूना वली और अर्जुमन निज़ामी जैसे नाम, जबकि फॉरेस्ट्री एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ कंजर्वेशन की फील्ड में फ़ीमेल जब नहीं आती थी, दे वर द पायोनियर लेडीज़ जिन्होंने जो कि इस शोबे में आई और फिर उन्होंने बहुत सारी कंट्रीब्यूशंस की। और अनटिल वी वर देयर एट पाकिस्तान फॉरेस्ट इंस्टीट्यूट, जो हमारी फ़ीमेल कलीग्स थी, वी नोटेड, ये मैं इस वजह से आपको नहीं बता रहा हूँ कि मैं एक फ़ीमेल के साथ, एक लेडी के साथ बात कर रहा हूँ और मैं कोई बटरिंग कर रहा हूँ ना, दिस इज़ वेरी माय पर्सनल ऑब्जर्वेशन। हम हाइकिंग कर रहे होते थे जब माउंटेन्स में अपने फॉरेस्ट्री एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ के हैबिटेट्स में सर्वेस करते थे, तो वी फाउंड आवर फीमेल कलीग्स वो हमसे आगे होती थी। पहाड़ों पर चढ़ाई हो या डीप इनसाइड हैबिटेट्स, ये मैं उस वक्त नोट कर रहा होता था। और आज तक मैं देखता हूँ कि जब भी कोई इनिशिएटिव होता है, आई हैव फाउंड देम एट द फोर फ्रंट। जिस तरह से अमीरा ने बात की डॉक्टर फहमीदा की, ये नाम भी हमारे लिए इस जहाँ होता हूँ ज़रूर जिक्र जब होता है तो उनको खराज तहसीन पेश करता हूँ। टर्टल कंजर्वेशन में उनको प्राइड ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस मिला और ऑफ कोर्स शी इज़ वेल नोन ऑलरेडी। अंटिल वेरी रिसेंटली दे आर इन सिंध, अब गवर्नमेंट ऑफ सिंध को जब हम रिप्रेजेंट करेंगे, और मुझसे सवाल भी आपका डायरेक्ट यही था, ये तो मैंने पिछली बातें बताई, जब वाइल्ड लाइफ या फॉरेस्ट्री कंजर्वेशन में हम देखते हैं कि इतना डॉक्टर फहमीदा के बाद एक बहुत बड़ा गैप था और पॉलिसीज़ जो थी वो वहाँ पे कुछ या लेजिस्लेशन में देयर वाज नथिंग रिटन ओवर देयर, बट अंटिल वेरी रिसेंट there are speaking laws, they have been approved and they are speaking for their equal participation in this field. And soon in coming few months when we will be announcing the positions, so they will be equally welcoming the participation of the female in this field. So yes, government has taken steps.
Are in the right direction. And so the steps are in the right direction. Let's hope that the women that we are reaching out to today also take up this opportunity. Yeah. Dr. Fauzia, this book, coming back to you, this book is all about courage, it's about stories, and it's all about people overcoming challenges. So what role do you think that publications like these, how can organizations like WWF or perhaps even the government, how can we use that to value and support women rangers? What change can it bring about?
I have probably overused this suggestion from one of my friends. His name's Shazil Malik. I met him at Oxford. तो मैंने उनसे कहा यार थक गए लोगों को बता के कि प्लास्टिक इस्तेमाल नहीं करो और लोग सुनते ही नहीं हैं. And then he goes, do you remember that advertisement about तंबाकू नोशी सेहत के लिए मुज़र है, तंबाकू नोशी सेहत के लिए मुज़र है, where you're saying smoking is injurious to health? Everybody knew it. You know, there were researches, publications, deaths in family that were making it evident that it is not good for you. But you still had to remind people that it is important, that this is not good for you, that you should stop it. So when it comes to environmental messaging, and particularly I think for conservation messaging, क्योंकि environmental messaging फिर भी थोड़ी mainstream हो गई है, फिर भी 2-4 दरख्त कोई मिनिस्टर कहीं लगा देता है, फिर भी कोई कॉरपोरेट कोई इवेंट कर लेता है, but conservation, which is like going into these difficult areas, looking after the species that we know whose role are important for us, that messaging has to be continuous. And I'm very glad कि WWF ने ये किया, जैसे मेरे लिए बहुत सारी बातें आज नहीं थी, इवन द फैक्ट कि GB में रेंजर्स नहीं है, ये भी तो इट्स समथिंग दैट आई वांट टू नाउ गो ब्रिंग बैक टू गिलगित बल्तिस्तान एंड से हम इसमें कैसे पीछे रह गए भाई. सो यू नो देयर आर थिंग्स दैट ऑल ऑफ अस हैव लर्नड टुडे. डू नॉट कीप दिस इंफॉर्मेशन टू यू. अगर आज ये उन 10-15 घरों में जाता है जो यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं, तो योर जॉब फॉर टुडे इज़ डन. Okay, you've told at least 10 people, and these 10 people are going to go back to their homes and say, you know what we learned today. Khawateen rangers hain. So this conversation is step 1. I think publication is step 2. I would say an outreach and dissemination would be step 3. But outreach and dissemination not once, not twice, not thrice, but a million times. Because we are a country with diverse people, diverse geographies and diverse accesses. स्कूलों में जाइए, यूनिवर्सिटियों में जाइए, टीवीज़ पर जाइए, मस्जिदों में जाइए, जहाँ आप जा सकते हैं जाइए, क्योंकि इस मुल्क की का जो ऑडियंस है वो बहुत डाइवर्स है और उस तक पहुँचने के लिए आपको बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. एंड दैट मेक्स योर जॉब वेरी डिफिकल्ट, राबिया, बिकॉज यू सिट एट द कॉम्स इन WWF.
We've got our work cut out for us, and you've got work cut out for you.
और काम आप पे आ गया, तो all the best, and like I said, conversation, publication, never ending communication. ख्वाबों में भी लोगों के जाके उनको बताइए कि हमारे पास ऐसी खूबसूरत ख़वातीन हैं जो फील्ड में they're doing everything that needs to be done, and you need to know about it, and you need to thank them, and you need to recognize the role that they are playing.
Thank you, Dr. Fawzia. That was very encouraging. And then, Javed Saab, I'll come back to you just for one last question, maybe. Any words of encouragement? Any messages? Any words of encouragement for the women who might be considering this profession but are very reluctant? जिन्होंने बड़ी दफ़ा सुना है कि ये ख़वातीन का काम नहीं है.
नहीं, देखिए, वैसी एक्शंस स्पीक लाउडर देन वर्ड्स. और इस वक्त एज ऑफ टुडे अगर मैं देखूं तो वी हैव more than 200 ladies who are doing duties of wildlife or forest rangers in this country, in this part of the world. और ये कि इस वक्त गवर्नमेंट ऑफ सिंध ने लॉज कंड्यूसिव और वो उनको वेलकमिंग बनाए हैं, जो कि ऐसे एक्शंस हैं, दे स्पीक. सो वी वेलकम देम एंड इनकरेज देम. बल्कि मैं कहूँगा, ज़ोर देता हूँ कि जब ये पोजीशंस जब आप परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं उस वक्त जब आप किसी पोजीशन पे हों, और बहुत जल्द हम पोजीशंस अनाउंस करने जा रहे हैं. एंड आई वेलकम देम to join this contest and get selected.
So do you want to add something, Hamera?
Just to vouch in one thing, I think this is a very important conversation to have, to bring more women, but also, and again, Javed Saab, you have the bigger role to play here. We also need to somehow teach the men to get more comfortable working with women. Because one thing that continues to stay a challenge is that it's sometimes very difficult for men in our cultures to be comfortable being with one woman in the field. And that's probably not specific to the departments, it's specific to my department, it's specific to everyone else, that we need to also normalize this norm that it's okay to have a woman, it's okay to let her do the hard work, it's okay to also be a support ally, because when it comes to teach, usually our focus is always on teaching women to become better in what they do. But what we haven't been doing very actively is to also make men understand that what does it feel like to work in an inclusive space, so that women do not run away because the space does not offer them a welcoming environment. So thank you.
Thanks, Hamera. I know that's a very vital and critical suggestion. Thank you for bringing that up. And with that, I'd like to start wrapping up the conversation. And as we close it, I would like to return to where we sort of began, with courage. Courage, commitment, and care for nature. And the stories that we've shared today, they don't end here. Please feel free to find us later, share your reflection, ask your questions. And a very important announcement from my end. In the marketplace today, you'll find the WWF booth. And over there, you have the opportunity to have a look at this book, purchase it, take it home if you'd like, please do. But more importantly, you also have the opportunity to write a letter to a ranger. Please do that. We'll make sure that your words, your encouragement, your solidarity reaches them. With that, I'd like to conclude and thank a few people. Thank you very much to this esteemed panel, but also thank you to the women rangers. Thank you to Rizwana Aziz, Arooj Zahir, Sidratul Muntaha, Kaneez Fatima, Wajiha Iftikhar, Kashaf Amir, Shagufta Bibi, Maria Marjan, Shaista Ali, Jazba Shafi, Hasina Ambreen, Dr. Umme Habiba, Aisha Shehzad, Nagmana Iram, Tasneem Murtaza, Najma Rashid, Komal Nabi and Zainab Wasir. These are the ladies that trusted us with their stories and trusted us to become their voice. Thank you so much, and thank you for being such a lovely audience. Thank you for listening and your solidarity.